Hey, welcome everybody to a Thursday happy hour hangout here at the Director's Garage. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael. There I am. How y'all doing? How's everything going? How's your week? Mine has been busy as crazy. Cheers, everyone. It is happy hour. I have Howley on the desk below me, so there will be no overhead camera today. He is taking up the space and entirely crashed out. Let's get the other microphone out of the way. That's my backup mic. I use that for doing all my work stuff. I don't use the fancy mic for work stuff. I use something that's more practical. Yes, a lot of stuff happening. We've had a lot of new gear come out. We've had a lot of new headphones come out. I saw the other day that I mentioned this, I don't know, about 3-4 months ago. We were talking about records that were in desperate need of a refresh, of a remastering. And one of the ones that I mentioned that really bugs me the most in terms of the way it was originally mixed was John Mellencamp's, or John Mellencamp, I guess he was at that point, his special, or his album Scarecrow. And sure enough, there's a remix of Scarecrow just dropped this week. That was really cool. So I have not heard it yet. It's in my cart over at HD Tracks. I'm going to download it sometime today or tomorrow and then take a listen to it because I'm super excited about that. That is an album that desperately needs a remix. It was mixed super thin and the mids were pushed and not enough bass emphasis at all for what it was. Sorry, hair in the air. That's what happens when you get a cat in the room. He's a good cat, though. So I was super excited about that. Some IEMs, some new IEMs hit the market. There's a bunch of new stuff from Moondrop, bunch of new stuff from out of Asia, and I can't remember all the names because I don't. Whoa, better turn that down. That's work telling me, hey, there's a new email, which I'm sure is nothing I have to worry about ever. There's a lot of new stuff out there and a lot of new product, and I'm excited about it. Let me see if I can find the email because there were like 2 or 3 headphones that dropped, and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. And then there's a lot of sales happen. Did you see? Out of nowhere, and I guess they do this every year, I just haven't paid that close attention. Out of nowhere this week, Odyssey dropped a mega bomb on us, a B-stock sale where they had the LCD-4 for $1,600. I'm like, holy crap. They also released the Audeze LCD-5, which was their special edition $4,000 headphone. They released they had a B stock of that for under $2,000. I came that close to buying that pair, and then I'm like, let me just think about it. Well, okay, I'll go buy it, and I click, it was gone. So somebody snagged that one. There must have only been like 1 or 2 of them because they were gone. That was the first thing to be sold out. I did buy something though. It'll be coming to a Director's Garage episode soon. I'll leave that tease out there. And I've also got some other new product in. Going to be talking about this headphone in the next episode. This is the Meze 109 Pro. Why is it Pro? What is it about this headphone that makes it? Is there a Meze standard? The Meze 109 standard? No, it's Meze. It's Pro because they say it's Pro. Sorry. The names just crack me up, the way they do the nomenclature and the naming on these things, with the Viking names and the whatever, and then things are Pro. Why is it Pro? What does that mean? I don't know. Who knows? Mom texting me right now. Let's say hello to Mom. I'm going live to Mom Director. She said her Sirius on her car went out. Well, she has my old car. Because we did a little car exchange when I lost my father. So she has my old car. So I'm gonna have to fix her Sirius XM. Anyway, so yeah, I do Sirius XM in the car. I've debated about dropping it though, because you know, you can do Tidal or Qobuz or whatever you want to use, and it's probably a lot better sound quality. Sirius XM compresses the crap out of their signal. There's a reason they can fit 123 different channels of music and talk radio into one stream, a narrow stream. It's because they're compressing the shit out of everything, and it sounds like it. Really sketch on the audio quality. I mean, it's not AM radio, but it's, you know, it's sketch. Cheers, everyone. Had a sandwich earlier, so I'm still catching up on the rehydration. Along with a listeria outbreak, and I hope I didn't have listeria in that sandwich. It's going to be a very short director's garage if there was listeria in my lunch meat. A ham sandwich. How y'all doing? Man, oh my God, the chat's getting loaded, and I just went on the air. This is great. Hey, I'm glad to see everybody in here. Wow, we got a full house. Look at that, look at that, look at that. Ace of Spades, hola, hello, cheers, hi-fi boog. Juan Carlos Quijada, that's really cool, man. Juan, welcome, buddy. He's a new name. I recognize the names, folks. I don't know much about you, but I recognize your names when they pop up. Good so far, dude, enjoying the Susvara so much. EQ with the Lokius, just amazing. Susvara is a great headphone. I think it's great. I am not convinced I'm keeping mine yet. I've had some offers on different things. I had an offer on the Susvara. They didn't follow up. I had an offer on the Focal. Didn't follow up. They're interested, but, you know, until I get a sale. I got to start listing stuff on HeadFi. I have just been so crazy with work lately. The episode for the 109 is way, way, way behind schedule. I've got it shot, and it's basically strung out into a timeline. There's nothing done to it beyond that. There's no music on it. There's no anything. It's Director's Garage Raw. You've heard of Director's Garage Live. This is Director's Garage Raw. It's a raw show. Just me cut together. It looks like every other YouTube show out there with jump cuts every 30 seconds. That's not how we do a show on this channel. But the Susvara, I just haven't, you know, some stuff has to move from the Director's Garage sale, and I got to start listing stuff on HeadFi because I'm not getting any serious inquiries through the show. Of course, I don't have that many, so I've got 4,500 people, so just over 4,500 subscribers, by the way. Congratulations to you all on that, because you guys are the ones who did it and tune in every week, and I so appreciate it. We're growing. It's a slow burn. We're an acquired taste here. That's what I like to say. If y'all only knew. Yeah, so as far as a great headphone, it's not currently, it did not rank in the top 5 of my, or maybe it was in the top 5 of my latest mega shootout. And it's just because I haven't found an amp that I feel works with it, or at least works as well with it as the other headphones that came ahead of it. And I think that was the Carbon was ahead of it, the Elite from Meze was ahead of it, the LCD-4 and the Almighty Abyss was ahead of it. So there you go. That was that. Welcome, Headbang. What up, Headbangers? Says Divine's Gaming. Yeah, I've been doing a little more headbanging lately. I've been listening to some harder stuff. I've been doing some harder stuff in my music sections lately, if you notice. Been dropping that in when I'm doing auditioning tracks. I'm not just going for, a lot of times I go for stuff that's extremely resolving, but sometimes I want to check out how fun a headphone is and really see how well they jam out. And that's equally important, I think. So I've been trying to include a little more in the metal line of things as I'm doing these shows, just because I want to. It's a it's a genre that I listen to every now and then, and I get into for a night or whatever, or for a string of songs, because I want to rock out a bit. So yeah, I think that's as important to listen to as pop music or classical. I don't listen to a lot of classical, but jazz certainly. I'm a big jazz aficionado, and then of course rock. Just hard rock and all kinds of different rock is my kind of wheelhouse, as it were. Not so much on the electronica. I can't talk electronica or hip hop with y'all. I know the fundamentals, but when you get to some of the more obscure, when you get out of and you get into the current years, especially, I'm really bad with current hip hop. I could not pick a Kendrick Lamar song out of thin air. Like if you played it for me, I'd go, oh. But that's just me. Sorry. Kleenex. Holly, are you making my nose stuff up? Pardon me. How we doing, everybody? Hi-Fi Boog says he might get a Lokius soon. Well, Hi-Fi Boog, what about your stack, buddy? The wife isn't letting you tap into her amp anymore? What's going on there? He does a lot of listening with his TV versus a desktop. Ace of Spades just blew his 22 budget on a 2-channel system, Maggie 101.7i, and it's perfection. All right. How much did that run you, Ace of Spades? I'm wondering. Yes. Odyssey. Yes, Odyssey had a huge B-stock sale this week, and it was so funny. Let me tell you, it was a little odd because I got an email at 9 a.m. saying, hey, our B-stock sale is online, or our B-stock sale is today starting at noon Pacific. But I think they meant noon Eastern because it was 9 o'clock in the morning and I could already place an order. And like I said, that 24 went right away. Now a lot of the stuff is gone, but they still have some deals up there. So it's worth checking out if you're looking for some Odyssey stuff, or make sure that you check out. Am I selling? I got some Odyssey stuff up there. I've got an LCD-5 for sale. I've got a what else have I got? I've got the Carbon. I think I've got the Carbon up too. Just because I need to make room. I got to get some new shit in here for you guys. It's all for you guys. If I have my druthers, I just keep everything because it's fun to have. But I got to make some room for some stuff so we can keep it going. Keep the channel going. Zener GS says, hello. Sorry for the random question. I have a K712 Pro. Should I get an HD 600 as an upgrade, or would it be just a side grade? And should I get something else from the upper range, like an Ananda, the Hifiman Ananda? Well, the K712 Pro I haven't heard, so I can't speak to it. I wish I could. The HD 600 is a fantastic headphone, very good. I would say, look to that. That's in the, what's that? What are those running now? About 400, I think, for the HD 600, unless you buy the drop version, which would be about 200. Let's just see what his budget's looking like. Oh, that's the live streaming. We can't shut that page, folks. That's going to take down all the chat and the page. Let's not do that. That would be tragic. Or would it? Let's go to Audio 46 because I can, and they're one of my partners. More on that later. And let's look up. Let's see. What is it going for now? The Sennheisers. Where's the Sennheiser page? There it is. Momentum 4. Fall sale up to 35% on Sennheiser stuff at Audio 46 right now. Wow, $340 for an HD 650. That, my friends, is a steal. That's a really good price. That's one of the best prices I've ever seen. HD 600, same thing. You can get the 650. I mess around. HD 650 is like, to me, that's, God, $340. Ooh, what a deal. Yeah, go to Audio 46, pick that up. Use the coupon code Director's Garage, all one word. You might get an extra 5% off of that. I don't know if it applies, but you could try it. Yeah, that's amazing. That's an amazing price for that. What else is in that range? What's the Hifiman? I would say the Sundara. Sundara, you should look at the Sundara. If you like something that's a little faster than the 650. That's a good one. And then, I don't know, what else is in that range? Guys, help me out. Chime in the chat. Help this man out. Yeah, the Edition XS, Stealth Edition, that's $499. Good price. Good price. The Diva Pro. I haven't heard the Divas yet. And the Shangri-La at $18,000. No. It's right in that ballpark. Same range. Yeah, Sundara, $279. I would say definitely check those out. That's a headphone that gets universal praise. The Aria V3 Stealth Magnet Edition, the 2021. Is that the same as the one that I reviewed on the show? I think it is. That's down to $1,300. That was $1,700 when it came out. That's a good price on that headphone. That sounds great. And $2,000 for the HE1000 V2 planers. That might be the deal. But yeah, the Ananda Stealth, if you can stretch to $700, Ananda Stealth Magnet Edition, that's going to be a great headphone. That would be a phenomenal headphone if you can scrape together $700. I would say look to that. I'd say there's nothing wrong with the Sennheiser HC650. It's a little bit of a muted treble, whereas you're going to get a little, get a little faster performance, maybe a little more clarity up top if you go with a planar like the Hifiman Ananda, or even, I have not heard the Sundara, but everybody raves about it. It's going to have that Hifiman sound, so I would say also look to that. Those, and then Odyssey's got some stuff in there. The LCD-2, you can pick up an LCD-2 now for a couple $100, so worth checking out. All that stuff is worth checking out. I personally, I would opt for the Ananda. That would be something I would look for, or see if I can find a deal. Look with Black Friday coming up, you're going to start seeing some mega deals. Keep an eye out for a Dan Clark Audio Noir, Aeon 2 Noir. That's my favorite deal, my favorite sounding headphone, I think, under $1,000. If I had to pick one over ear, that one is spectacular. And it's closed back. It's closed back on top of it, but it's really good. That's what I would do. If I were in your shoes, I would be taking a look at that one at $899, and that's going to go on sale in the next couple weeks. It's an older headphone. There's no way they're not going to put that thing on sale. So keep your eye open for that. The Dan Clark Audio Aeon 2 Noir closed back, phenomenal headphone. So there you go. Those are my thoughts in that range, and I haven't heard everything in that range. I'm much better on the higher end for some reason. The show tends to spend more money. Go figure. It's also more broke than any other show. Hi-Fi 2 said he got the Jotunheim 2 DCA Aeon Closed X this week. Yeah, Jotunheim, the shit stuff is fantastic. I'm a fan of it. It just happens that I always wind up with something else other than the shit for some reason. Not that the shit's not the shit. It is. It's shit. But it's yeah, that's a great pair. You're going to have a good time with that, Hi-Fi Boog. Divine's Gaming, anyone else selling some cheap HD 800Ss? Keep your eyes open. Stuff's going to go on sale like crazy right now. It's just going to, next few weeks, man, you're going to see some amazing deals. And right now, what is it, 35% off on the HD 800S? Mrs. Director may have just gotten home. She'll be dropping in any second now. We could say hello to Mrs. Director. What is the HD 800S at right now? It's $14.99. Wow. That's only 17% off. You might be able to get more off on that in the coming weeks. It's expensive, though. It's going to be up in that, you're going to be over $1,000 to get into that headphone. But I've seen them. I've seen those headphones. And I picked up my 820 for, I think it was $1,100. It was used, but it was in great shape. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out, Divine Gaming. There are deals out there to be had, and if you wait long enough, you will get one at a really good price. It just takes some patience and a willingness to hold, to, you know, not get ants in your pants over pushing the buy it now button, which is my biggest weakness. It's like, do I want to get? Yeah, I do. But I did show some restraint in picking up that 24, because that was really tempting. And then after reading about it, I mean, yeah, it's a great headphone. This was a limited run from Odyssey, the LCD-24. It was a limited run from Odyssey. You had to custom order them back in the day, and they were like $3,600 to pick up a pair, which is great. Oh, we're missing some lighting. Huh. Why don't you guys tell me I had no chin light? Just kidding. That's better. So it was a headphone that was really special for it. But then the more people actually started. How's that for? Look, I got a side light now. It's a headphone though that as people started listening to it, they realized that it didn't have the bass performance of. Mrs. Director just walked in. Hello. There we go. It's a headphone that they said the bass performance wasn't as robust as the LCD-4, and then I was like, well, maybe I'm not so disappointed that I didn't get that pick up that deal, because I love the bass response of the LCD-4. So, but man, $1,600 for an LCD-4 on Odyssey's website for the B-stock sale. That was what a steal on that headphone. And we were just talking about it. Like $2,100 is a great deal on that headphone. $2,000 a great deal. $1,600. Crazy. Deadwood Hero says, why do manufacturers of earbuds, when waterproofing, skimp or shorten the bath to coat the products? Seem there must be more to it than this. Any idea? Are you talking about like the water sealing that they use on it? I don't know. I haven't had a problem with, you know, like I haven't gone swimming with a pair of Apple whatever's in my head, and I've never done it, so I don't know what the situation is there. Interesting though. Anybody have any ideas on that? I don't like. I'm trying to think of any headphones I have that are waterproof. I have some water resistant stuff like the Nobles. Those are water resistant, but I'm not sure about the bath time or any of that. I just know like the build quality. I question some of that, like and why they offer such a cheap cable sometimes and things like that. I've gotten a little miffed on the show from occasion from a headphone cable that wasn't maybe up to par where it should have been, I felt, for the money that they were charging. Oh, that was another one. Speaking of IEMs, Thieaudio just released. This may even be worth going to on the old thing. Let's do it, because I can do that today. I don't have an overhead camera, but I can definitely go to the laptop. There it is. There's our music playing. Let's not stop that. Here we go. And there. So yeah. Oh. Huh. Microphone. We need a microphone. Oh, we're doing good. Don't mind us. So here's Thieaudio. This is, they came out with a Thieaudio Noir, or Thieaudio Blanc, which is, you know, you remember a couple of years ago they had the Thieaudio Noir, which is a black edition of the Thieaudio, which is one of the very first in fact, it was the first headphone that I reviewed on this show. And it's currently back ordered, but it's a ceramic coated version, and then they took the noir tuning that everybody kind of preferred, and they said they refined it a little more. I don't know what that means. It's the same, but it's the same driver count. So I'm a little confused by it. and why, you know, just are they just taking a noir and painting it white or dropping it in a white ceramic coating? And there's no change to the drivers at all, as far as I know. There it is. There's the full screen. There's the backside. Much better cable than what came with my original 64 Audio Forte. But yeah, there you go. That was just released. Whoops. Don't stop the music. Never stop the music, kids. But $3,600 for a headphone that is 4 years old, an IEM. We've come a long way in headphone quality and driver count and what those things can do in 4 years. Here's the original TF Forte, the orange one, which is a good headphone. I mean, it does great spatial things. I just think that everything is blown by this thing. I mean, you know, all the top tier headphones, we'll go back to live here, but all the top tier stuff has blown by. Oh. Guys, this has happened once before on the live show, and when I move stuff around, there is a screw that holds this microphone in place. Notice my quick cat-like reflexes catching the microphone in mid-swing, but that screw comes loose every now and then, and so I've got to fix it. That was scary. All right. There we go. Now we can get it off. Stand by while we... This is the time when we'd put up that technical difficulty screen. If we were doing live television. Stand by while Michael fixes the microphone. This takes just a second. Alright, so that comes out. Sorry, Holly. Holly doesn't like it when things go wrong. Where's the screw? Come on, there we go. There we go. See this guy up here? Yeah, you can't see it. It's just a note. But yeah, it pulls itself loose every now and then, and you just gotta put it back on. Pardon. We're doing live maintenance on the director's garage. We could do the maintenance show. And put the sleeve back in. And then we wire this back up here. Not the thing you want to be doing with your $3,000 microphone. These things have appreciated, folks. Hey, we got some live. That was some live action. Yes, Odyssey was... sorry, so we'll go back to the chat here. Stephen Kett says, yes, Odyssey flash sale was amazing. He bought an LCD-4Z for megabucks, not kilobucks. Yeah, absolutely. It was a heck of a sale. I got to credit Odyssey. They brought it. They really brought the prices down. Very cool. Adnan Ferozi says those Odyssey drops go away in under an hour. I wager you're getting an LCD-i4. That's a possibility. It's a possibility. I like that idea. Juan Carlos Quijada, haha, enjoy your reviews very much. Thank you. Thank you. We do it all for you. I'm using it with the Benchmark AHB2 Hollow May L2. Haven't had a Hollow May in here. And Audio GD Master 9 as a preamp, he gets lost. He puts EQ to max the bass and treble. Yeah, for the purposes of the show, as you know, Juan, I don't do EQ for you guys because you can't do what I do. Unless you have the exact same gear, your EQ won't sound the same. So it's kind of pointless for me to tell you, hey, use these EQ settings. There's a lot of these websites out there will tell you, hey, just put in these EQ settings and then you'll hear what I hear. And it's like, you can't. Because unless you're using the exact piece of software combined with the same, you have to have the exact same signal path for that EQ to sound the same. And you have to be using the same equalizer, you know. So are you doing it in RME? Well, if you're doing an RME's EQ is going to sound way, way different than if you did it, say, in a software product, you know. A 2K boost is not a 2K boost across the board. It's similar, but it's not going to sound the same because every EQ scheme sounds different. I can explain that a little further if you want me to, but I think you get the idea. So yeah, very good stuff. The Susvara. So I mean, the bottom line is use what's making you happy. If it's working for you, man, that's the way to go. Wow, we had like an audience spike when I lost the microphone. That was so cool. Look, the world went, oh my God, there was something went wrong. We got to watch it live. Yeah, so, but I think, you know, like I say, use what you've been using, use what makes you happy, use what you enjoy, and screw the other stuff. You know, the other thing is that, like, I'm seeing reviews. This is something I've noticed recently, and I'll see. This will be a spicier take. You know, some people say that maybe say that I float too much on the surface of these shows. Here's an honest take. I think what I'm noticing more and more, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm going to tell you what I think is happening in the review business, with reviewers. They get these graphs, and then they build their review around the graph. And they try to explain what they're hearing on the graph at certain points. And they don't direct correlate it, but I'm noticing that a lot of these reviews are like, oh, I see a slight elevation at 8K. I should say something about an 8K spike. And it's why I don't look at graphs when I do these reviews. I tell you how they sound to me, because sometimes an 8K push is to counteract something in the manufacturing of the diaphragm or of the magnetic structure. So you're pushing at 8K to actually balance something that came out deficient when they put the driver in there. So yeah, they're pushing it, but on that particular piece of material that they're using to do the driver, to do the driving, you're actually just balancing out something that wasn't, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? And it seems to me like a lot of reviewers, they feel like if they're not pointing to something they hear at a specific frequency where there's a bump on a chart, they feel like they're not giving an accurate review. And I got to tell you, there are headphones like this one right here. We're going to talk about it in the next episode. The 109 Pro. I'm getting serious here for a second. Stay with me. There are headphones like the 109 Pro. Now, if you look at the graph on this, it looks like, you know, if you look at versus the Harman, which is the norm bullshit shit that somebody made up, this is what it should sound like. You know, don't tell me what it should sound like. I'll tell you what it should sound like. But these things show, like, as you look at it, it looks like, I looked at the graph on this the other day. Yeah, I actually looked at a chart for once, but it looks like it's trailing in the sub, and then it comes up like a boost at like 200 hertz. It looks like there's a little boost. I'm telling you, when you're listening to these, the sub is blown out. Like, this thing sounds like the sub is crazy cranked. I'm not kidding. Like, I put these on, and I thought I was like hearing my heartbeat or something resonating somehow through my head. And it's not. It's a sub-bass push. And I'm telling you, if you buy this and you listen to it, you're going to hear something down low that's like, holy God, it's like something coming from the wells of the earth, from the bottom of your soul. And it's not always, I'm not saying that that's a great thing. I'm saying, you know, it's a characteristic of this headphone that don't show up on a chart, because I'm telling you what I'm hearing, and that chart doesn't match it. Now, maybe my hearing's off. You could make that argument. But I've heard other people say that who are like me, and they're not like just relying on a chart to make a review. So I'm telling you, like, don't, first of all, I don't think that these charts are 100% accurate. And the graphs, I'm talking about the wave graphs of the headphone. And second of all, I don't think they tell you the whole story. Because people aren't using their ears, they're using the graphs, is what I'm saying. And I think that's a big problem. I think that's a problem with the way reviews are going down right now. People, I think, use those graphs and make their review match the graph rather than tell you what they're hearing and then show the graph as a reference. Well, you know, this is what I hear, this is how it charts, do with that what you will. So very interesting. I know that's a little bit of a spicy take for me, but honestly, that's how I feel about it. I feel like as I started checking out, because, you know, I did the review's in the can for this, and I started looking at some other reviews of this thing came up in the last few days, which naturally make my review worthless. Because everybody will see all these other reviews. And the same thing with the Batiste. People are saying, or Batis, or Bathies, as I say. You know, I'm seeing reviews on those, and I'm like, that ain't what they're saying, stuff that I just don't hear. Like, to me, these things have a tremendous mid-range. They're surprisingly wide-ish, but for a closed back. But, you know, there's still some things that aren't spectacular on the Batiste. And I've heard some people say, you know, they're replacing all their headphones with it. I'm like, no, hell no. You know, they're good, and I've been using it. I probably had more time on the Batiste than I've had on anything. Hang on, we're going to let Holly out for a second. Wanna go up on you? Go run. Fly, be free, young man. We just let him out the door. So yeah, it's just like and I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying that, you know, I think that there's a gap between reality and what people are actually, what people are charting out on through their software. And again, this is another problem with the charting and the graphing. When they get their graph, you know, and they play a bunch of frequencies through I'm not sure exactly how they do it. I assume they use frequency sweeps, and then they measure the frequency sweep at, you know, as it applies to the headphone. That's what I would do if I was, you know, I would want to use a test tone. But first of all, music doesn't sound like a test sweep. Second of all, you're capturing what the headphone is playing. They're taking the headphone, right? And they're putting it on a fake head, right? And there's microphones inside the head. Well, those microphones there's no flat microphone on the planet. It doesn't exist. You can make a compensation curve for the microphone. You can try all sorts of stuff. You're not going to get flat, because these things all color sound beautifully, and thank God, because we use different microphones for different purposes. But there's no microphone that is certainly at the size that they're talking and that will capture adequately the actual representation of what a human would hear. It just doesn't happen. You can't do it. You can come close and you can get it, but it's not going to, like, the graph just doesn't tell you what you need to know, which is why I always listen to friends and audition this shit for yourselves if you can. Don't just believe me, because I'm a yutz with a YouTube blowtorch here that's blowing stuff out into the wild. Listen to your own ears. Listen to what you hear. And everybody's hearing's different too. Remember that. I have a little bit of tinnitus, and that's going to color whatever it is I hear. But I still have good hearing, and I think I can dissect a sound pretty good. And that's part of that is experience, and having listened to hundreds of headphones over the past few years, through doing this little experiment that is the YouTube show. And I've gotten confirmation from the people who designed the stuff, like, that's really cool that you heard that. That's what we were going for. Or, you know, they're like, the manufacturers are telling me that I'm hearing stuff the way I should have heard it. So, like, there's a gap between what I'm seeing in other reviews, in professional reviews. I'm just an amateur, and or maybe you'd call me a pro, like a semi-pro. He's semi-pro. I feel like I'm a minor league pitcher. I'm not a major league pitcher in the headphone world. I'm minor league. I got five. I'm filling up the yard on the corner with the small little lights and the two bench seats alongside. We all come in here, all 26 of us. Everybody grabs a mitt. We go play for an hour. No, but everybody hears different, but you gotta trust ears. You gotta trust ears and not what somebody holds up in front of you and says this is what it is. It's not what it is. It's things sound different than they play out on paper. All right, end of sermon. So that's a spicier take for you. And I just went on a rant here for probably 20 minutes. Is it worth it? Did you guys like that? Kill me. Cheers, everybody. I'm out of now. I'm all dried up. All dried up and nowhere to go. As far as does make magic with it, yeah, it's great. I mean, and if you like the Susvara, I love the Susvara. I think it's great, but I just don't think it's holding its own as time is going by. I think we're going to see another Susvara, the next generation. It may not be Susvara 2. They may call it something else. Thieaudio. That was my joke a couple weeks ago. They called it the Thieaudio. Sponsored by Phil Collins. Yeah, so Snapple 10L. Cheers, Snapple. Have you been on the show before? I don't think you have. Very good, very good. Welcome. Shure 1840 doesn't get mentioned often. I haven't done a lot of Shure headphones. The only Shure that I've done is back here. Is this it? Yeah. The KSE 1500, which is the electrostatic Shure, and I still have these. I threatened to get rid of these a few times, and I've put them up for sale, and then I just chicken out. These are so good. The detail on this Shure is spectacular, and this is an old soul now. This Shure KSE, it'll do funny things when I power it up, because the frame rate will all get on it if there's any juice in this thing. Has it been that? No, here's the power buttons on the side. There we go. But look at that. I mean, this electrostatic IEM, pure electrostatic IEM. How great is that? Needs a charge. Not that bad. 71%. Yeah, the fantastic IEM. That's the Shure that I've done. I've had like the 535s and some of those other ones, like the way back before the show was even on the air, like 10 years before. And they're good, but Shure tends to play, and I don't know, I haven't looked at their lineup recently, but they tend to play with balanced armatures, and that's kind of like where they're locked in. And balanced armatures are great. I have some great balanced armature IEMs here. Not that one. This is the Noble K10s, 10 balanced armatures in one little housing, and how they get the timing of all those things just right, I have no idea. It's magic. That's why he's called a wizard, the guy who designs them. But balanced armatures are they're great, but there's better out there now. I mean, like, we've moved past this. We've got now electrostatic drivers as opposed to an entire electrostatic headphone. We've got an electrostatic driver that can do just the treble frequencies, just those upper range airy frequencies that electrostatics do so well with such speed. And they'll just give you those upper frequencies. And then they'll put a big dynamic driver, big single, a movable IEM driver down low. So you get that sub bass, get the deep thump. I mean, spectacular. I think the next wave, though, is going to be along the lines. I think the Timeless has changed things so much. The 7 Hertz Timeless, which is my all-world $200 IEM. This guy, the Timeless, if you haven't seen it, $200, and put a good amp with it. You're You're dying. I had somebody like actually write the other day, you don't need you can drive those timelesses with an iPhone, it'll be fine. I'm like, you can drive them with an iPhone, but they're not going to give you a lot of volume, and you're not going to get the most out of them. I mean, they shine. They go next level when you put a good amp with them. The timeless combined with the WA11 Topaz is spectacular. It's spectacular. It sounds so much better than a $200. It sounds like that $1,200 headphone. It sounds like a $1,500 IEM. So it competes on that level. That's how good it is. Of course, you're putting a $1,000 amp with it, but I'm just saying. It helps it. But the problem with the Shure, getting back to your point, is they're playing with balanced armatures, and I'm like, well, the technology has moved way past balanced armatures. Maybe they've got some new stuff that I'm not aware of. I'll concede that, but that's my only issue with Shure, is that they're playing in the past, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, and I'm sure they make great sounding stuff. It's just, if you're trying to push for that next level, these headphones that combine a bunch of stuff are doing some pretty crazy things. And to get away, the stuff that they provide, the experiences they provide are so amazing. It's really something. Bragadash Pro full waterproof. And here's the other problem with IEMs. Holly's out. I got to close because we're in the flight path. The other problem with IEMs is there's too many damn manufacturers doing it, and I think they're all coming from like just a few places, but they're putting like 1,000 different labels on them. It's like, I'm not so sure that Moondrop and some of these other ones from Asia are not coming from the exact same manufacturer with a different label. Not quite so sure about that. They redesigned the case and put it out under another name. I think there's a lot of that going on. Hi-Fi Book says he wishes he knew about this Odyssey sale. Yeah, it dropped on me like a ton of bricks. And like I said, before I even could hardly react, half the shit was gone. It was good though, man. It was awesome. I was really excited to see that. Still having a little bit of like, should I have bought that 24? It was a great price. It's a great price. It's like $1,600 for the 24. It's like, oh man, nah, I'm not gonna do it. Like I have to be satisfied with what I've got from Odyssey in house, and I've got some great headphones from Odyssey. Their credit, they've killed it. I delayed getting into the Odyssey pool for a long time. I was on Team Hi-Fi Man, and I was on Team Focal and Meze. Love the Meze stuff. I'll try all these different things, and I finally, like last year, not even last year, it was really this year, like this spring, in the maybe the end of winter, I started buying. I got the LCD-5, I got the Carbon, and then I started just running through some of their headphones. I'm like, these things are great. Like this is a company that really knows what they're doing. And then I visited down there. They invited me down there, and I saw like the attention to detail and the customer care they go through. And it's a. Whew, they're doing some things down there, man. They're doing some really good things, and making some great products. There's something for everybody. Whatever you like. If you're looking for that jazz kind of leanness, the LCD-5 is so fast. It just needs a little more bass, in my opinion. I wish they would let me, order like a pair that has more like the LCD-4 bass in it. Because if they put the LCD-4 bass in that LCD-5, it'd be all world beating. I don't know that anybody could touch it. But it is. They make. But if you want that lean sound, that nice, like flat, almost pro, like. Talk about your Meze Pro. There's very little pro about that headphone. There's a lot pro about the LCD-5. I could mix on those. I swear to God, you would get some great mixes out of that thing. They sound meh, but versatility out of business now. Okay. That's regarding the Braggy Dash, I'm guessing. Braggy Dash? I don't know. ML Jenkins. Hey, cheers, ML Jenkins. Welcome to the show. He's intoxicated with tea again. I'm intoxicated with something. Ninja Powers. Nephilim81, welcome Nephilim, says, speaking of synergies and what makes him happy, yep, WA22, Nephilim's a 22, he's a recent 22 addict, and the D8000, a headphone that's hurting me not to own at this point. Really knocking him out. His power tubes are finally more broken in on the WA22, makes a difference. Yeah, they'll relax over time. They'll give you a little different sound. I don't think that they sound like night and day difference, but they do warm up a bit, and they, you get a little zhuzh from them. I'll agree with that. Gil Reynard says, Michael, I'm hankering for a contrasting open back to his Aria Stealth. A contrasting open back that's just as proficient technically with more slam. Besides an LCD-4, not a bad choice. What would you recommend? I would pick up an Empyrean. Empyrean has really nice bass, really nice slam. And a used pair of those right now, because the Elite just wiped it off the face of the planet, you can probably get them for about $1,500. Not the end game of detail. Your Aria Stealth will clean the floor with it in terms of speed and detail. But in terms of comfort, listenability, and great slam and warmth, fantastic headphone. Fantastic headphone. It just doesn't have the technical proficiency of the others. But that would be a great alternative. I would say, yeah, definitely. Juan Carlos Quijada says, Juan, makes sense. He understands. The EQ does the trick for him. That's great. That's all that matters. In the end, that's all that matters. Don't... when I took my KSE 1500 to George Meyer Hi-Fi, which is I showed some video from that tour. Like, there's easily a couple $100,000 worth of audio amps alone in for repair at George Meyer downtown LA. It was spectacular. Let me walk through the room, and I actually shot a little sweeping shot of the racks of, like, oh, hey, there's a $5,000 Macintosh sitting next to a $12,000. I mean, it was absurd. It was absolutely absurd. The quality of stuff in there that he had in there, and his parting advice to me. This is somebody who sells this stuff for a living. Like, he's not afraid to sell you something new. Old George Meyer, he's got some contacts with some vendors. There's nothing wrong with the old stuff. Don't buy all this hype that you got to have the latest and greatest. You got to have the new LCD-5. It's one better than the 4. Well, it's different. It's a different product. And there's a case, if you want to hear the 5 and you want to check it out, great. But there are things about the 4 I just think that are way better than the 5. LCD-5. And that 4 it's an old headphone by now. It's pretty old. It's been around a minute. They had one, that's the headphone that has been revved. They're all phaser magnets, arrays. $2,000, versus $3,500, $4,000 for the LCD-5. Yeah, I think the LCD-5 is faster, but in terms of overall sound and experience, and you get the slam and the bass, and it's fast and just wonderful. I'm like, that's an all-round great headphone. It's fantastic. So is the Abyss, but the Abyss keeps going up in price, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is something as old as that headphone going up in price when everybody else is coming down in price? You make the call. I'm not one to say. Okay, so where was I at with that? Makes sense. Understand the EQ trick. Sound is also subjective. I think it's totally subjective. Everybody has different ears. Everybody has different shaped ears. Everybody, you gather sound in your head differently than I do. It's the way it is. Genetics, man. He was just surprised when he tried the Susvara with the bass boost. I've put like the bass boost that was on, what was that amp that I had in here? Great amp, but it was ultimately not powerful enough. Phonitor, the Phonitor X I had in here, and they had a bass booster on that. You could tweak with the sound quite a bit on that. It's one of the things that was. I felt like in the end it was like most of what you were paying for in the Phonitor X was the electronics, the spatial stuff, and the different settings for the thing, and the amp was like an afterthought almost. I didn't think the amp was very good. Whereas this thing doesn't give you a lot of bells and whistles other than controlling. I'm talking about the Ferramore stack, controlling the input voltage to the amp, which will let you get some subtle tweaks in there. But it doesn't have the fancy spatial stuff because I think it's all the money for that stack is going into the amp and the circuitry, and it sounds like it. So it's very clean, very good sounding. But yeah, and a bass boost, I just it sounds to me like we're compromising, like you're changing the signal rather than getting the headphone to sound right, and that seems to me that's okay. It's a way to go, but I still don't think like there's a force that I'm looking for to come out of those Susvaras that I just haven't gotten yet out of it. A lot of people say it's the Bakun 13R and whatever the next version of that, the 24 or whatever the hell it is, but I can't remember the name of it. But the Bakun stuff, everybody seems to say is the way to go, and I'm like, well, $4,200 for that amp. I'm not made of money. I wish I was. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, it depends on what sells for me. If I sell a bunch of other stuff off and I can afford an amp, I'll do an amp game with it, and I'll try one more amp with the Susvara before moving on. But I'm also not afraid to sell the Susvara if somebody wants to pay for it, because I don't care. It's just a headphone. I've got a lot of them up here. I've got a lot of things to choose from. Not worrying about one particular going away at all. No, whatever it is. I think the LCD-4 is pretty safe though for now. Really impressed. Yeah, Juan says he can't listen without anymore. I believe that. You get used to a certain sound, and I think that makes sense. That totally makes sense, man. I support it. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. We are Thursday. Man, we're already an hour into the stream. Can you believe it? Time flies. Take care of a couple of quick things of business. We don't do Patreon around here. We don't do a lot of things around here. We don't get viewers around here. But if you can hit the like button, that's always a nice thing to do. That's kind of cool. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, because I need it. Gotta get. We're edging into that 5,000 range. So lame. Like everybody else got like 50,000 subscribers, I'm like 5,000. But we're a mighty small group. And then you can also support the channel by going to Audio 46, and you can use our coupon code Director's Garage. It's all one word. At checkout, put it in as a coupon code, and you get an extra 5% off most of the stuff they carry, and it kicks back a little bit of money to the show. Not a lot, just a little something. Say thank you for helping us get a sale. But you get something for the money that you would use to donate. It's like, as opposed to just doing Patreon where you just give the money to the person, you're actually getting something for it. You're going to get a nice product, whatever it is you want to buy. And then it just kicks a little bit back to the show. And you get to save 5% on most of the stuff. A couple manufacturers won't work with them. It's a deal. It's a thing. Grado, I think, is one of them. Campfire Audio, they won't work with them on price at all. So the 5% won't work on those, on a couple of the things. And maybe if it's a sale item, they might have a restriction. I don't really know. But go ahead and try it. Can't hurt. 5% off, man. If you're buying a $2,000 thing, 5% is a lot of money. Talking about real money there. Anyway, and then the other thing is you can click any of the Amazon links down below, and you don't have to buy the thing. You just click on the link and then do your Amazon shopping like you normally would. And because you went there from my link, they just give me a small percentage of your sale. We're not talking about me getting rich here, folks. We're talking about pennies on the dollar. But at the end of the month, every now and then I'll get like, $50 or something. So it's like from everybody who does that. Doesn't cost you anything more at Amazon. All it does is just thank me for going through my channel to get to Amazon. So that's all you can do. That's how we support the channel around here. And I appreciate you guys. I appreciate all of you guys just for tuning in. That's enough. But that's other ways if you wanted to really get involved. Hey, Girls 18 Online just checked. So great to see you, Girls 18 Online. Who have you got for us today? You've got free girls in our city. God. So bad. Happens every week because we're so popular. And they know that we have a lot of handsome, young, strapping men in our field here. God. All right, where did I leave off in the chat? Because that distracted me. Second opinion. Cheers. Here we go. Hey, first time catching the live show, Richard Spector. Cheers, my brother. Long time watcher. So glad you could come in. Anything you want to chat about, all these folks can. We got a bunch of experts in here. We're all experts, amateur experts. But we know what we hear, and we know what we like hearing, and that's all there is to it. Nephilim81 says measurements don't tell the whole story. Hearing is believing. Absolutely, Nephilim, you are speaking my language, brother. Deadwood Hero. Sometimes listening to you feels like a 10-year-old listening to someone talk about calculus. I'm old and trying. I might be older. And I like Deadwood. I remember the series. And I saw the movie a couple years ago. Remember that? How good was that series? I don't think I'm... And I hope I'm not... I try not to talk over people because that's the other thing that these shows do. They'll throw around a bunch of terms and like... Okay. Sometimes I think they're saying stuff just to... because they like the way it sounds. Side note, due to me, he got a Ferrum stack and a Susvara. His wife hates me. Awesome. Cheers, brother. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. $9,000 out the door. See ya. Hopefully you bought it used. I do encourage people to buy used. Snapple10 says, he remembered the time today. Usually catches the recorded episodes. Yeah, and that's, we do this every week. It's not always, it's not in the same time slot because I do work for a living. And that's part of the problem with you guys notice, I haven't had an episode this week and I'm probably not going to get one out this week. I wish I could. I wish I had it. But I have worked this week. It's been busy. Yesterday was, I started the day at 6 a.m. I finished the day at about 10:35 at night. It was a long, long day of work. It's been one of those weeks. Just a lot going on. It's nothing special, nothing earth-shattering. I had a bunch of small shoots. Had some big names, though. We did a Jason Momoa thing. That's on the show tonight. Entertainment Tonight. Check your local listings. The Jason Momoa thing was mine. I shot an interview with a girl from Grey's Anatomy. Not that I watched the show, but that was lined up for us yesterday. We did that interview. I did another interview. Did a thing with Kevin Hart yesterday. Like all sorts of, there's all kinds of stuff going on. It's just been busy, and no time to edit. I'm getting home at night. I'm doing reports all night, and then I'm drifting away. I just don't have the head to sit here and pound out an episode tonight. So, and I don't ever want to burn out doing this show. Like if I need to take breaks, I take breaks. And part of that was, I got some life experience. Life kind of bit me a little bit this year. Like some of those reality things, like we're not all going to be here forever kind of things. So if I have to take time to spend with, my family, with my wife or whatever, and maybe I miss an episode in a week and I don't get to drop one, not the end of the world. I think that I provide something that I really enjoy doing. I always want to enjoy doing it. And I've been editing and shooting and telling stories for really since I was 18 years old. So you know, my passion for telling stories will never go away. But I don't want to like get burned out on this thing because, you know, this is fun. This is for us. You know, I actually enjoy the live streams. If I could get the viewers I need to survive doing a live stream, I would do this all the time because it's much easier than putting together one of these 20-minute episodes with all the graphics and stuff, and I'm telling stories and all that. It's harder to do. It's more rewarding ultimately because the finished product is something I'm really proud of. But yeah, we'll do the live stream, and I enjoy doing it because I get to interact with you guys. Someday I'll get it together and we'll be able to Zoom and do stuff like that. It's not anytime soon. I'm out of energy. The tank is on E right now. I got to recharge a little bit. Capital Audio Fest is tomorrow. If any of you are in the greater DC, Virginia area, go check that out. That sounds like a good deal. ML Jenkins with the dropping the Capital Audio Fest on us and walking out the door. Very cool. Richard Spector says the Unique Melody Mest 2 are incredible with bone conductivity. Next level to my ears. Yeah, I haven't heard the Mark IIs, but I had the Mark 1s in here. They were one of my favorite headphones for a long time. They were the bang for the buck champion for a long time until Kinera released the Nanna. Then I thought at $900, there were things that the Mest did better, but it didn't justify the extra price. Nanna 2.0 is still a hell of a headphone. I use them all the time still. They're my main work headphone when I'm not wearing the Batiste, which has been staying with me because it's got such good Bluetooth connectivity. Really amazing, next level stuff. Odyssey is one of the best damn headphone companies. Hard to beat them, and their service. I'm sure somebody's had bad experiences with them at some point, but I can guarantee that they would have gone out of their way to make sure they've done everything they can to make the person happy, because it does them no good not to. They're a small company with big aspirations, and they're doing huge. I mean, take a look at the as much as I like the Carbon. I think the Carbon sounds great. Look at the technology behind that, and the inspiration for that headphone was so that people who are stuck in an MRI tube getting the full body thing can have a little bit of peace of mind. You don't do that to make money. I mean, maybe they made some money on it, but you're changing the world with your product. Like that's a whole lot better than this show's doing. Or I'm doing on my show. So very cool, very cool. Nephilim says, guys, he's into work, kind of tired lately, staying up way too late listening to music. That's good. Anyone else have this problem? Yeah, well, me, because I'm always up late at night for doing something. Kind of sounds like Holly's at the door, but he's not. I don't see the outline shape of his cat body. Yeah, I know. It's great listening. I was up the other night I was doing the review for the 109. The Meze 109 Pro. It's a Pro, guys. I was listening to records late at night. I pulled out the turntable and I was spinning vinyl because I was wanting to hear the new Revolver. I'll have a little mini Revolver thing in the next episode. I'm going to talk about that and my impressions of that. So, yes, but I was up late at night listening and making my notes and stuff and writing the script. Coming up with a review for that and what I think of it. That'll be coming probably next week. I don't think it's going to get out this week. There's no music on the thing. I've got way too far to go on in production. I would need like 3 straight days of editing. Maybe 2. I could probably do it in 2. I'll get it done over the weekend probably, and it'll drop Tuesday. That's the current plan for episode 124 of the Director's Garage. 124, not to mention the live streams. How many hours of live streaming have we done? Cheers, everybody. Glad you all are here. Glad you came in. It's a good time. We'll start wrapping it up in a little bit here. We'll go through the rest of the chat, so make sure we give everybody their money's worth. Juan says he agrees, man. The Susvara without EQ Lokius is lean in comparison. Yeah, my complaints with the Susvara are twofold. One, I don't get the robust bass that I really want out of the headphone. I want the bass response of for that money, for $6,000. I want the bass response of the Abyss. I want the bass response of the LCD-4, and I don't feel like I get that. You can get there with EQ, I'm sure, but it's not the same. Like, the force behind the bass isn't there. So it's like you'll get the tone, but you can't make a headphone slam that doesn't slam, right? You can get the bass boosted, but there's that physical thing that conks you on the back of the head when you have a good slamming headphone. And you don't get that effect out of it. Even you can't make EQ do that. So there is something lacking there. Now, I think the Susvara can do it. I think it's got to have the right amplification, which I haven't found yet. Wah, wah. Anyway, ML Jenkins says he's demoing the Vivaldi Apex stack. Why do I know that name? I may have seen those. He hasn't been to his bed. He's fallen asleep in his chair for 3 nights. Just you, bourbon, and sound. Well, I'll give you a hint. It might be the bourbon. ML. But I appreciate that you're appreciating it. Tipping back the bourbon. Now, if you get bourbon on this show, we got a real happy hour going on. JTB says, welcome to Headphones and Audio Gear. When he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, he's right. Absolutely. You are your own best. You are your own best critic. Okay. Nephilim81 says he loves the live stream and the videos. Appreciate what I do. That's good. I mean, it's nice to see somebody appreciate it. And you guys do. I mean, I know you guys tune in every week, and that's cool. And that's why I do it, because you guys, it's like catching up with my friends. What are you guys doing? What are you hearing? What's exciting? What do you by the way, just saw today, this is kind of cool, Kind of Blue, the Miles Davis, greatest album of all time, that little record, that caught so much flack when they did the, pardon the flack reference, but that cost so much flack when they did the LP shootout between the Analog Productions version and the MoFi version, and why is the Analog Productions version so better? And it's like, well, it's not a dub of a dub, it's not all digital. It doesn't have a digital interstep. And so, yeah, you get a little more open, a little more airy record out of it. But Kind of Blue has a reel-to-reel release. There's a company out of, I believe it's Italy, that is doing a Kind of Blue on a 15-inch per second reel. 2 reels, it's like $700 for the album. And I would have bought it like that because I'm a sucker, stupid. Except you can't get it in the United States. It's not a United States. So I think Kind of Blue is kind of like licensed through Analog Production, so they'd have to do the tape of it. But that's, if Chad could wow me, that would be the one to wow me with. Give me a Kind of Blue on reel-to-reel tape for my crazy reel-to-reel deck back there that's got the Macintosh plating and stuff. Too fun. And I haven't been on that enough lately. I gotta pull out the reels, man. Get those reels turning. Big reels keep on turning. Too much. Okay. Juan says it's life balance, man. Don't worry, but don't get him wrong. Wish you had more uploads. Me too. I wish I had time to do this full time. I just can't. It doesn't make any money. Regardless, it's always a pleasure to get a notification, and my reviews are honestly the best around. Well, I think that there are some great reviewers out there, and I mean, my favorite reviewer, I think I've been not shy about this, is forgot his name. Oh Jesus, what is wrong with me? And I gotta look it up because it's going to drive me nuts if I don't know. It's YouTube. No. YouTube. I'm going to find his name. I just forgot his name. I'm totally drawing a blank. Why am I drawing a blank? Kurawong. Kurawong's, and he's a really technical reviewer. I just enjoy his opinion of things, and I enjoy his take of things. It's interesting to me. Kurawong, his channel's good. I like his style. He doesn't seem to be beholden to anybody. He gives his honest opinion, and I don't always agree with him, but I most of the time agree with what he has to say. Like, I actually align with what he hears, what he's hearing. And I don't think he's one of the guys that bases reviews on graphs. I think he actually tells you what he hears. Darren says, hi, no one seems to be covering the ICO OH5 12 millimeter lithium magnesium dynamic IEM. Only review he's seen, full praise, it's about 400 quid, so maybe worth looking into. Maybe I have so many of these smaller IEMs though, from, you know, like the names, you know, there's so many names out there. It's like, maybe, but I probably have to get sent to me, because it's not something that I'm like, unless it's making a big splash and it's like people are really talking about it. It's one of those buzz things. It's not something that I would typically pursue. Not saying I wouldn't do it. It's just not on my front burner. There's other things out there, and you'll see in the coming weeks what I've been putting money into, or at least, you know, what's getting reviewed here. A Spade says ML must be one hell of a comfortable chair with plenty of bourbon. I think it's the bourbon over the chair. Michael, do early 1960s and older jazz recordings from the pre-mixing era hold up? Absolutely. Oh my God, yes. Yes. And it's why those vintage albums, if they're in pristine shape, they're in the kilobucks. I mean, they'll cost you over $1,000 if you get an original pressing Blue Note label in great condition. Yeah. Do they hold up? Yes. In some ways better than current recordings. Current all digital process recordings. Those guys knew what they were doing, because look, you can clean so much up now in your software. You know, your software can do so much more for you. So you just set it up, get it close, get it recorded, get it into post, and fix it, right? That's kind of what most people do. Back in the day, everything had to go down live. Like, it went down, you might be able to get a mix, you know, 2 or 3 channels recorded at most, and then you would mix that down, you know, like you would mix from that. You'd do a live mixing session. Not uncommon. But it meant the mic placement had to be dead spot on. You know, your mic placement is everything. And that's one of the things you'll notice if you do a deep dive into guys like, you know, Jeff Emmerich, or you know, and I know the Beatles guys all come to mind because they were so great, but even the producers in LA, you know, and New York, and those big, huge, you know, in those studios, the Spectors, the Phil Spectors before it was crazy, you know, all those guys, mic placement, Motown recordings, mic placement, and then how close the next mic was, because are they crossing each other? Are they canceling each other's frequencies out in any way? You know, like, all of that stuff was so paid attention to by people who had done it for so long. Yeah, the attention to detail is spectacular. Is spectacular on those older recordings. And there's nothing like them. Look, I think in terms of actual sound quality, the greatest record, it's not the greatest performance, but it's one of the greatest records of all time. It would be Jazz at the Pawn Shop, right? And if you haven't heard Jazz at the Pawn Shop, go right after this, go listen to it. Stream it. I don't care. Do whatever you got to do, because the imaging on that, it's a binaural recording, and the imaging on that is so crazy. You're sitting in the room at a pawn shop while these guys are playing in Sweden. Arn Dominguez, just unbelievable. It was recorded, what, 1974, I think. 1975, something like that. It's ancient. Like, there's way before we had digital recorders, you know. It's all analog. Doesn't matter. Just guys who knew what the hell they were doing when they were setting up the recording. And it was a live space. Go figure. You know, big difference. Warwick Bravura might be interested for $5,000. Mr. Interesting for $5,000. He has good things about the, but not Phi TC Slam. Yeah, I've seen those, and I think Zeos did. Didn't Zeos do something about in those? I thought I saw a headline. Didn't watch the episode, but I saw he may have reviewed them. Good, yeah, I'm sure they're good. I just don't know. God, it's so many 5,000. And who the hell has $5,000 to spend on this shit? Gotta sell some things, folks. Juan says, yeah, man, speaker amps are your best friends with the Susvara. I know, and I've had somebody tell me, private message me and say, dude, you've got the KSA 1500, or I get the numbers mixed up, the KSA 100S from Krell, drive it with that. And I'm like, I don't want to take that risk. Because if the impedance is off a little bit, I'm going to fry my Susvara. I'm not built to take a $4,000, even though I bought it used, a $4,200 hit is not what I'm looking to take. Or I think I bought them for $4,600, and I think I'm selling them for $4,200. I'm not prepared to take that kind of hit if something goes wrong and I get some kind of spike in those things. Not going to happen. Yeah, I'll do what is proven, but I'm not going to take chances. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, man. Kurwong, thank you, Nephilim 81. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's the reviewer that I think he's solid. They're not terribly fun, but he's so knowledgeable and such a joy to listen to. And he gets it and he's into it. He's like me. He's like me with the science behind it. He kind of has more of the technical down. But he's a nerd like me, like just as into it because we're into it, you know, and want the shit to sound as good as it can. And it's not like just about showing your friends, you know, like, hey, check this out, you know, or my buddies, or, you know, bringing you guys in. Check it out. It's great. Should join Kurwong Discord chat. There's a lot on there. It's great. I would like to. I don't have time, guys. Like you know, like everything goes down to. I'm down to the minute with my life. I mean, it's crazy how down to the minute I am with how I do things. And like yesterday was like I didn't have a spare minute to even eat, although I ate at Kevin Hart's restaurant. It was vegan. It's like vegan chicken sandwich. I'm like, what is that? And then they deep fry it. So I'm like, okay, well, you've took a vegan thing and you deep fried it. That can't be great for business. Anyway, yeah, I want to do my own Patreon. I want to do my own stuff. There's no time. I just want to get the episodes out the door and do the live stream. If I can get this down to a science where I'm producing every week, it'd be great. I just don't have the time. You should check out the Fuyua Avic headphone shows in Tokyo when he lived in Japan. Yeah. I remember he was over there. Dion Vancouver. Welcome, Dion. That's a brand new name, and we drink to everybody who shows up new. Cheers to you, Dion. It's also his vault. He has Dave and M. Skiller. Yeah, me too. It says, his fault. Yeah. I don't know if it's his fault, because for me, it was like some test I heard, and I'm like, oh my God, that's making a huge difference. I'm like, I've got to get this thing. And then I bought it. And And then I had somebody telling me that I don't know what my ears are wrong. You're just wrong. You own that cord stuff. Okay, if you say so. I'll just be wrong. I don't care. Yes, Ace of Spades, greatest of all times, Muddy Waters, folk singer. Yeah, that's so good. God, that's a good album. That's the one. That's one of the ones. I don't have it yet, but it's one of the ones that's on my short list to buy when I have time. I really want that on reel to reel because they do have that on reel to reel. Analog Productions does it. I don't have that yet, but I will at some point. Because it's great. And Muddy Waters is core. I told you the story. Muddy Waters lived one town over from me. He lived in a town called Westmont, Illinois. He had one of the only houses in town with a pool in the backyard. That's how you knew it was his. He wasn't a wealthy man, but he was rich enough to have a pool. One of the few people growing up. So we realized he was just a couple blocks off the railroad tracks in Westmont. And we'd go drive by his house. There was always a Cadillac out front. He did have his caddy. We'd ride by on bicycles, you know. And then he would play the powwow days in Westmont also, which was the local little street fair. He and his band with, you know, get Butterfield out there, and sometimes he'd have, you know, I think it was James Cotton was playing with him or something. But at any rate, he always had a good band out there. I know Johnny Winter played with him for a long. He was out there for a couple of them. We'd play every year. He'd do a set at the powwow days. Come out and watch that. I saw him at Chicago Fest once. It was really good. I mean, you know, it's good stuff. Muddy Waters is core Chicago blues, and I'm a Chicago guy, so you know, doesn't get it. Time is precious. Have a young family. Time is precious. Absolutely, time is precious, and it goes too fast. And the secret that I will tell you guys, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show before. As you get older, time accelerates. I know the laws of physics say no, time is a constant. Unless you approach the speed of light, then it changes. Time accelerates the older you get. The time between when I was 8 years old and we get off for summer vacation, the time from June to the end of August was like a year. I mean, it was the best year of my life, those 3 months. And it was like that for so long. Like the summer was just promise. It was every day was promise. And then I got into high school, and that summer vacation, it was like, that thing started going really fast. Like, shit. Like, we just left, and I've got another year of another year of high school. In my 20s, the days were kind of normal. Like, it seemed things, you know, years. In my 30s, things started getting much faster. Like, my 30s, I turned 31, and it seemed like a month later I was 40 and married. Like, what the hell happened? Where'd the 30s go? The 40s went like that. And I am already halfway through my 50s, and it was yesterday I turned 50. I swear to God. So as you get older, time accelerates. And time will slip past you faster than you know. The older you get, the faster time goes. We're clicking off years. Like, I just got done with my taxes, and damn it to hell, in a month and a half, we're going to have to do taxes again. It's crazy how fast, like, this is absurd. Somebody got to pump the brakes on life so I can enjoy some of this Muddy Waters music. Yeah, really great stuff, man. Really great stuff. But yeah, time is precious. Time goes fast. Zenyatta Mandata is nuts when it comes to fidelity. I'll give you one better. I think that the Police catalog is nuts when it comes to fidelity. It's one of the best pop alt sounding. You know, they were pop towards the end, but they were alt in the beginning. You know, even maybe a little bit new wave in a sense, but they were ska. You know, a little bit of ska band. So good. And to me, the pinnacle was Ghost in the Machine. If you have a Robert Ludwig version of Ghost in the Machine, and I have one, it's next level analog sound. It is so good. So good. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. It's 5 o'clock. We've done our 90-minute live stream. So enjoyed being here today. I will have a new episode next week. It's going to be on this Meze 109, and it'll be followed by probably a new product unboxing. I don't know what that's going to... No, I do know what that's going to be. And then I'll do the full review of the Batiste. Those are the next three, I think, up. And Nephilim, congratulations. You have that Robert Ludwig version of Ghost in the Machine. Yeah, it's fantastic. I got it right up on the shelf. Fantastic. But tip your waiters and waitresses on the way out the door. But throw your beer cans in the recycling bin, please. I'm going to start the muse. Oh boy, we're way over here. Let's get some music going. Some outro music. Cheers, everybody. I was so glad you guys stopped by. We will be back next week with a live stream, and we will also be back with a new episode next week. It'll be that 109. And really enjoyed spending some time with you guys today, and I hope you guys enjoyed your time you spent here at the Director's Garage. And appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys, you know the rest, before you know it. Get out of here. Oh, geez, now I got to get off the air. I'm not prepared.